afternoon, everybody. Live Q&A here from Dominator Fore as I am driving eastbound cross-country trip, heading back to Gizmo. Leaving Tornado Alley after a subpar trip there, missing that tornado in Purdon, and then not blasting down to Orange. Should have skipped that Oklahoma chase. There were a couple of nocturnal tornadoes there. One northeast side of Norman, QLCS type of a tornado, and also another tornado confirmed just to the south of I-40 near the Union City area. That's the one that we were on late night out there, looking west side of Yukon, just near Interstate 40. But trying to figure out my plans for 2022. I'm thinking that a full court press might be needed. Dominator 3 down from Canada. Thinking about getting a warehouse with an apartment attached in Norman, Oklahoma, and then fixing up Dominator 1 and 2. Chasing in Dominator 4, of course. And science mission. Thinking about deploying sensors with the Dominator FPV drones. Also the Gravitron network of gravity waves, microbarometers, deploying those. And launching rockets again, too, from Dominator 3. That also needs to be a priority, getting things back on track. And I'm thinking about, at least for a year or two, going back to the team mentality out there, when you have a bunch of different teams working together. Thinking about a full court press live stream, too. Maybe hiring a camera guy that can have kind of a multi-platform stream, and then every single time we'll go live, just have that person travel around to the different vehicles as we stream Dominator 3, Dominator FPV drones, those that are deploying ground-based probes, and also those that can recover the probes after we deploy them. But thinking a full court press is probably necessary coming up here. Beautiful fall colors happening right now. This is a live Q&A as well. I had to do this in portrait mode. And here you can see the beautiful fall day out here in eastern Oklahoma. Bring this thing down here. Yeah, if you send me some tornado videos, I will break them down storm structure wise. That's a good idea. Here's my chin. I'm also going to be growing the mustache as well, growing that out. Figure kind of representative of this new era of increased grit. Oh yeah, I've chased a lot of storms in Canada. Saw one of my first intercepts up there was 2007, but I started storm chasing up there in 2005. Saw that crazy F3, F4 tornado. I still think it was the strongest tornado in Canadian history up there. June 23rd, 2007. Was all over that in a Hyundai Accent. Maximum speed about 50 miles an hour with that thing. But a massive white wedge moving northwest to southeast was coming right at us in Pipestone, Manitoba. Stood there, tornado not moving side to side, which means it's either coming straight at you or moving away. And in this case, it was coming straight at us. Lined it up, went just a little bit to the east, and then that tornado passed across the road to my west. Inflow about 150 miles an hour, it felt like. More like 60, 70 mile an hour inflow. And then the tornado increased to a mile-wide monster just to the south of that west to east road. Increased over a mile wide, continued to move off to the southeast, and a little bit after that, the big core came in, blew all our windows out with baseball and softball size hail, and then we went into Brandon, Manitoba, and had a couple adult beverages there. Yeah, Kansas City. You guys had that active event the other day. Those supercell storms developing right over top Kansas City, and then moving off to the northeast, dropping that monster Purdon tornado. Man, if we just hung in Chillicothe for a little bit longer, went east and then north, checked out the storm structurally, visually first, then we would have intercepted that tornado, flown the Dominator FPV drone all the way around it. Captain Vanover would have had a field day around that tornado. I would have probably driven into the circulation, blown the windows out in Dominator Fore, and then went down Chase Western Oklahoma nocturnal event. Should have driven all night down to Orange, Texas, and would have gotten that intercept in Orange, flown the Dominator FPV drone all around it. Seems like the last 2 years when I zig, the atmosphere zags. Gonna eat a lot of bean burritos on the way too today. I'm heading back to hang out with Gizmo. I get back to her at about 1 a.m. So I am pretty excited about that. Be reunited with my storm chasing partner. Gizmo's actually 13 years old, was born in Enid, Oklahoma, and she's seen about 250 tornadoes. So Gizmo has seen more tornadoes than any dog in history. I'm not very good with paperwork, or else I would file for the Guinness Book of World Records, file that paperwork with Gizmo. My next step now is to submit our paper for publication, the rocket launch into that tornado there in Linwood, Kansas in 2019. Need to submit that paper. It's like 38 pages long. Just got to finish those quick revisions and then it'll be completed. I'm probably going to get my Mac laptop fixed because I destroyed the screen on that thing. Now it's saved up in iCloud, but what a mess these days. I got to get my act together. Got to get my mountain bike fixed too. My car is fixed at least. I got those multiple lug nuts now in the back left tire. We were actually chasing with 3 lug nuts in Missouri that day, which was, had to stop every 20 minutes and make sure that they're still tight. Took the tire off, inspected the integrity of those lugs before proceeding with that. This is a live Q&A. Thank you guys for joining me. Now, I didn't fix my side mirrors. I probably should have fixed those. I think Tornado Alley is going to be incredibly active during 2022, Tyro. I think that you're seeing a sign of things to come during this fall season with the record-breaking October. 31 tornadoes happening in the state of Oklahoma just during October alone, during that 2-week period. So I think that this is a sign of things to come for spring of 2022. There's a lot of cold water in the northeastern Pacific, that PDO horseshoe, Gulf of Alaska, all the way down through the subtropical belt of the PDO, down into the tropical Pacific as well. La Nina conditions. So I think with that year 2 La Nina, that cold water propagating around the eastern periphery, the eastern ocean basin there, I think all of that is going to come together to create a very active spring season. I think Tornado Alley is going to come back alive. Central and southern plains, Great Plains, Tornado Alley. So I think it's time to get ready for 2022. I think it's going to be a very active season. My goal is just to eat a lot of fiber during this winter, stay hydrated, start running about 40 miles a week again, and then I'll be back to normal. Semi-truck here blasting by the left side. Yeah, I think that Dixie's going to get really active as well during this early spring. February, March type of a time frame I think is going to be very active in Dixie. We'll be there to chase that as well. Also going to chase some snowstorms through this winter. I mentioned after missing all these recent tornadoes that I was going to take a sabbatical and try to recharge my batteries. I'm going to try to recharge my batteries, but also not miss any chases. And get back after it with a team approach next spring. Live stream, full court press, multi-platform stream of all our different teams working together for science. Maybe we'll bring in some new teams as well. But one thing I've learned through doing television shows all these years is really that you can reach a lot more people through social media just with a cell phone clamped on the windshield. 10 times more people than you can by doing a television show on TV anymore. So I'm just going to use my own platform, stream live, full court press. Mark is up in Alberta waiting for the big geomagnetic storm that's coming in. Saturday night is when that peak storm's going to be. You might be able to view it overhead as far south as the Ohio Valley down here, Central Plains. And you can see it in the northern horizon as far south as Oklahoma, maybe even the Carolinas, depending on cloud cover, of course. Looks like the western Canadian prairies are probably going to be the best place to view the solar storm coming in. What do you guys think about Facebook getting renamed as Metaverse? I think that they're planning on doing like a Sim City type thing where you're living in a digitized universe, simulated universe. I'm wondering if they're going to have storm chasing in the Metaverse, live streaming storm chasing somehow. So got a plan for the future. Giving that a lot of thought. Wondering if YouTube's going to do something similar. I do think that is the future with these NFTs and Cardano City and Ethereum and creating these simulated universes. And not sure though, but we'll see. Just trying to figure out what the next step is going to be. In storm chasing, it was the next kind of big evolution with social media and then live data, live streaming. Now we've got these miniaturized sensors that are kind of revolutionizing the science side of storm chasing. We're rolling out the Dominator weather stations. All of that is kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm headed to see Gizmo. Gizmo's at my mom's in South Carolina. So I've got a long cross-country trip coming up ahead here. Figured I'd stream live. A lot of strong northerly winds in the backside of that big system that produced the tornadoes. Yep, that's where Gizmo is. Gizmo's in the Carolinas. Oh yeah, I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and hell, maybe even TikTok, Instagram, multi-platform stream. Also want to get some land in a warehouse with an apartment attached in Oklahoma in the heart of Tornado Alley, where I'll keep the Dominator storm chasing vehicles, Dominator 1, 2, maybe even Dominator 3, if Sean will sell it back to me. And that's where I'll base, kind of use that as the Dominator headquarters. But then I'll split time in South Carolina and up in Colorado too to work those flash floods in the desert, Mountain West, the desert Southwest, Northern High Plains. But those are kind of my plans. Trying to figure things out. Yeah, the Dow actually measured, it was like 309 mile an hour. May 3rd, 1999. That was one of the first tornadoes that I had chased, and it was an F5. Ended up underneath the overpass on that one. I was with 4 of my friends, freshman meteorology students at the University of Oklahoma. We packed into a soft top geo tracker. I had a calculus exam that afternoon, went in there, dominated the calculus exam, and then we hop in to the geo-tracker and blast southwest on I-44. See this massive nuclear explosion of a supercell. Blew up right over I-44. It's got choppers flying around it. Mass chaos. News helicopters flying all around, streaming live. It was like a War of the Worlds thing. Storm chasers, tricked out vehicles all over the place. And we get on that storm and it produced the first elephant trunk tornado near Cyril, Oklahoma. White elephant trunk snaking all the way down. And we were on the board. Went off to the northeast and got ready for the next cycle. And then a big, massive tornado touches down, rapid motion. And keep in mind, this is the first time that I've really seen massive, violent tornadoes. This was the first time. I was a freshman at the University of Oklahoma, 18. And we chased that storm through Chickasha. It disappeared, reappeared all at once. I think it was the same occlusion that went all the way up, the F5 that went up near that I-44 corridor towards Moore, South Oklahoma City. And as we dropped into a grove of trees, we lost visual temporarily of that tornado. We emerged from the trees and bam, big F5 right to our left, coming right at us. And for some reason, we all got the idea that abandoning the vehicle and running for an overpass was the best idea at the time. So we all abandoned the vehicle, we run to the overpass. There's families underneath the overpass flipping out. This was out near the Bridge Creek area. F5 coming at us. The family was screaming underneath the overpass as the tornado was approaching, but I just remember never really being afraid of it. I just remember being just pure happiness that I was this close to something that was so organized, so beautiful. We worked so hard to see these tornadoes. Just after this, though, we saw the dark side that the tornadoes leave behind there and more in South Oklahoma City with that F5 damage. Well, the tornado was coming right at us. We started getting sprayed by rain, insulation, debris. I slid down the embankment that was in the overpass, and then it turns a little bit to the north, wobbling, but we still get hammered by the RFD, the wraparound of the tornado, big debris cloud on it, big power explosions as it crosses the road, and I was shirtless at the time. I somehow lost my shirt. I hadn't had a shower in about 2 months. I was studying for exams. You know how it goes during the college life. So I started running after the tornado like a madman. And then we all piled back in the geo-tracker, which somehow was still on the ground. It actually didn't get blown away. And we piled back into the geo-tracker, start headed northeast. And then we hit the damage, the F5 damage. There were horses wandering in the middle of I-44, people emerging from their homes. And at that point, that was the first time we had witnessed the dark side that these tornadoes leave behind. And that's what storm chasers work hard to prevent by providing reports, by increasing awareness for these tornadoes as well. But we dropped off the video then at a local news network in Oklahoma City. And by the time I got back to my dorm room, I had all these answer machine messages on my dorm room telephone. This was before the times of cell phones. Lisa Gibbons left a message on my answer machine and asked if I wanted to go up to Los Angeles to be on the Lisa Gibbons show. I had never been out there, so I said, hell yes. They gave me like $200 for the video, which I thought was amazing. That was like a full week's worth of golf course. And so probably could have got $2,000 for it, especially back then, maybe even more than that. But ended up going out to the Lisa Gibbons show out in Los Angeles then. And that kind of started my storm chasing career. I licensed footage, kind of learned the whole process of selling VHS tapes back then, selling DVDs, which came around a little bit after that. And I realized that I could storm chase for a living, do what I love for a living, and not have to work at the golf course anymore, mowing grass and raking sand traps, setting up tee boxes, tees and trash. And I've been storm chasing ever since, full time. Constantly have to evolve though. 2006, the big evolution was social media. Storm chasers are kind of afraid of unloading their footage libraries on social media because they thought that keeping it exclusive kind of retained or even increased its value. But I dumped my whole entire library on YouTube and kind of blew up for the next 5 years. And then when we launched TVN, we went through a third-party advertiser, and then I've been kind of battling back on YouTube a little bit here. Still, we've been able to amass 220 million views since 2006. Seen about 800 tornadoes since then, maybe even more than that. And now we're trying to do a lot of the science by launching rockets into these tornadoes and more. TVN mission happened. I kind of had to sell my soul a little bit to make TVN happen, which is why I'm not an owner of Dominator 3. Dominator 1 and 2 are running the ground, and also trying to rebuild YouTube with footage library I can still salvage. And now trying to work on this new Team Dominator initiative here. I'm headed eastbound right now. Yeah, I'm heading back to Gizmo. She's in upstate South Carolina right now. My first hurricane that I chased was Hurricane Floyd in 1999. And Lisa Gibbons, after May 3rd, 99 tornado story, she called us, and it was a sophomore fall semester. She asked if we wanted to go out and chase this hurricane. I think she thought we were like 25 or 30 and, you know, veteran storm chasers, but we were really just freshman meteorologists. And I learned that you just basically say yes to something and then you figure out how to do it. And with the hurricanes, I said, hell yes, we're going. And my roommate and I ended up going out there. We were too young to rent a car, so we ended up landing in Charlotte and had to take a taxi from Charlotte to Wilmington, North Carolina, at the coastline where Hurricane Floyd was headed toward Cape Fear. And there was a man named Ernest who was checking his family into a hotel in Wilmington, where we had the taxi driver drop us off, and asked him if we could ride out Hurricane Floyd at his mobile home while his family and him take shelter in Wilmington. And he said yes, we could watch over the house, stay out there, cover it from a mandatory evacuated area right in Cape Fear, our first hurricane. So we piled in the back of his pickup. There was all this engine debris back there. So we're sitting on all these metal scraps. He brings us to his mobile home and drops us off there. And there was no tape on the windows, not a lot of preparation for the hurricane. And it came in, blew all the windows out. The whole mobile home is surrounded by 3 feet of water. We're putting up mattresses on the wall to make sure that if it does roll, that we'd be okay. And we didn't have cell phone. We had no vehicle. Power went out. We're sitting there pitch black, getting hammered by a major hurricane on Cape Fear. And finally it moved off to the east after a marathon that night of riding out the back eye wall. And it moved on, and the next day Ernest was nowhere to be seen. A lot of floodwater still. Finally later that afternoon he rolls up, and his house was still there. Mobile home had some windows blown out, and we were able to finally get out of Cape Fear. But then there was a lot of floodwaters that came in and prevented us from flying out. I had a political science exam that I had to skip. My freshman class, one of the mandatory classes we had to take, so I dropped out of political science. Never been one of my big favorite subjects anyway. And came back and then finished my semester. But that was my first hurricane story, Hurricane Floyd, and I probably chased like 30, 40 hurricanes since then. Hurricanes are more horizontal rain. The target is a slower moving target. It's pretty easy to intercept them, but it's more of a survival experience when you're in that hurricane. And a lot of crazy people stay behind sometimes for hurricanes. Sometimes people don't have the option or the resources though to evacuate. But usually crazy storm chasers, police, sometimes corrupt, and criminals are a lot of times the people that definitely like to stay behind during hurricanes. And just people that want to ride it out. But we had another crazy incident chasing Hurricane Katrina, which involved a high-speed chase with a rusty dump truck that ended up being the chief of police of Slidell, Louisiana. So we were thrown in jail for a while, and we were trying to get east to Mississippi. And then the floodwaters started rising. Once the police let us out, once they realized that we were just storm chasers, the floodwaters were too high for us to get east and escape. So we just had to watch our Honda Accord float away from the second floor balcony of the police station. Then eventually we were able to ride out of there by fishing boat. There were a couple different stops that we had to take, but we finally got to an elevated railroad track, and then we just started walking. And the police are like, "No, get back here!" And we packed our supplies, our water, some food, and just started walking on an elevated railroad track, climbing over debris, climbing over logs and trees. We finally got to Interstate 12 up there, I think it is. And the police said that there were no shelters. And we told them we were just going to start walking. And if you had a deputy that was headed that way, if they could pick us up, that'd be awesome. And we started hitchhiking, but the plan was to walk 35 miles to Covington, Louisiana. We were going to walk all night if we had to. Gators, snakes everywhere. We had Vienna sausages and water, enough to survive for days if we had to. And the road was closed, of course. Infrastructure down, no cell phones. Finally, we see a truck coming from behind us. So I start putting up my thumb, and he pulls over. Thank goodness, he pulls over. We hop in the back of the pickup, drives us all the way to Hammond, Louisiana. And no hotels were available. Everybody's trying to get a call out at a payphone. Just a free-for-all. You saw crimes that were happening out there too, it seemed like. Some looting was happening. And we were in line at a payphone trying to get a call out to my mom to let her know we were okay. And there was someone there that said, "Hey, you got to take this hotel room next door to us. It just got abandoned." So we went back to the hotel, and the door was unlocked. We went in there. There was crap smeared on the walls. It smelled terrible, but it was a shelter. And so we stayed the night in that shelter, and then woke up the next day and started hitchhiking again from Hammond, Louisiana. And once again, the first person that was driving through pulled over. We hopped in, and he was headed to Jackson, Mississippi. So we said, "Hey, that works for us." And he gave us a ride all the way to Jackson, Mississippi. Finally got cell phone coverage in Jackson, and I was able to get a call out to my mom. Found out that she made a missing persons report. Filed a missing persons report for us. She hates it when we chase hurricanes. And then rented a car. We were driving back to Oklahoma. We were so exhausted, I stopped to gas. Put the gas thing in the gas tank in the back, and then forgot to get out. Drove off with it, pulled it out of the gas pump, and it started spewing gasoline everywhere. They didn't have the fail-safe deals. And Brewer, my chase partner at the time, took off. He thought the gas station was going to explode. I went in and let him know that there's a big-time leak happening, and then we drove back to Oklahoma City, and then that was it. But that was my Hurricane Katrina experience. We chased Hurricane Rita that year as well. Another one in 2005. The year before, we chased Hurricane Francis and Jean. And before that was Hurricane Floyd. Tried to go to Jamaica to chase Hurricane Dean, and it missed. Ended up hitting the Yucatan. And we went down to the tip of Cabo San Lucas and chased Hurricane John back in 2006. Back with Joel. Joel and I chased Hurricane John and Hurricane Dean. And just the last 4 years or so has been crazy for hurricanes, chasing dozens of these hurricanes, tropical depressions, tropical storms all over the place. Joel and I had storm chase since '99. So we had storm chase for 20 years, off and on. Joel would take some breaks from chasing here and there. He was working in real estate too, while I was chasing everything nonstop. But our first chase together was really after October 9 of 2001, where we saw that big outbreak there in western Oklahoma, Foss Reservoir. Cordell was hit by an F3. Joel and I were killing it though through storm chasers, intercepting every tornado. We really had our mojo worked out. 2007 was probably our biggest year, with May 4 and May 5 of 2007, March 28, 2007, Tulia tornado, April 21st, 2007, and then finishing that with the big Pipestone, Manitoba tornado of June 23rd, 2007. Yeah, rest in peace, Joel. He'll forever be missed. That's his presence out there chasing in western Oklahoma, though. Joel would have loved all these western Oklahoma chases out there. We were out there near Cheyenne looking west as that tornado was trying to happen. It's near where Joel's buried. Favorite OU football memory was the OU Nebraska game in 2001. When I was a junior, fall of my junior year, maybe 2000. And during that season, we ended up winning the national title, but that was number 1 against number 2. The year before was Bob Stoops' first year, and we were leading every game that year, but finished 7-5, and it was kind of like a return of OU football that year. Because we had been down for a while, the Gibbs era, John Blake era. And once Stoops came in there, the excitement just was indescribable that sophomore year. We drove all the way up to Notre Dame to go to the Notre Dame game. Drank way too much Jägermeister on that trip. Painted our bodies, painted my car. But that year, number 1 against number 2, Nebraska, OU. My friends came down from Michigan. We were all camping out in front of the stadium. Had my body painted. I had a Mercury Topaz at the time. Painted that thing entirely with crimson and cream color that we picked up at Hobby Lobby. Ended up turning bright pink in the sunshine. It was actually featured in some homecoming parades there in Oklahoma. But we were camping out in front of the stadium, drinking a little bit we shouldn't have been. And a Nebraska fan was taunting the vehicle, my painted vehicle. So I had a rugby player, OU rugby player, that was a meteorologist sitting in the back seat named Chad Shispansky. And we're driving along, and this Nebraska fan is like hammering on the car, and Chad grabs his arm, and I didn't even know that happened. And I hit the gas trying to speed away from him. And he dragged this Nebraska fan for like a half mile. Didn't even know it. Finally let him go, and he rolled on the ground. He was okay, I think. And then we went back to the Nebraska game, continued what we were doing, went into the game the next morning, and it was the best game I ever went to. We were down 14-0, and maybe even 17-0, and then we started coming back. And then OU ended up winning the game. And we all ended up rushing the field. We were rushing the field a lot back then. People don't seem to rush the field as much anymore. But we rushed the field every single game those days. Even when we beat a bad team, we'd rush the field. And so, ran out on the field. I had my body painted. Got down onto it first, and then I tripped and fell. My glasses came off, and then I look up, and I just see this wall of OU fans coming at me. I thought I was going to get trampled, but I got up just in time, still intoxicated. And then I make a hard left turn toward one of the goalposts, running at the goalpost. There was a ring of police officers and security personnel at the base of the goalpost. Ran into it and got maced, and I'm rolling on the ground, covering my eyes, and then the rest of the OU fans arrive, and then we take down the goalpost, and we start just transporting it in circles on the field. We're just transporting the goalpost and this huge herd of OU fans around the field. And then a tornado watch was issued, so there was a fall chase in western Oklahoma into the Texas Panhandle. So we all meet back at my car, and the person that wasn't drinking that day drove us all the way out to the Texas Panhandle. And we tried to get on some storms out there, but it was a skinny squall line, didn't get any tornadoes. And then we came back to Norman and went out that night, of course. It was just nonstop back then. I wish I could take some of those times back and just kind of focus on getting 8 hours of sleep at night, and probably would have a much longer life. But then we went storm. Then that was it. Probably my most memorable college football experience. And we ended up going on to win the national title that year. We won the national title 12-0 against like a 35-year-old Chris Winkie. We were all about defense back then with Mike Stoops as the coordinator, just a suffocating defense. Torrance Marshall, Rocky Calvis, Josh Heupel at quarterback. He's the coach of Tennessee now. Just keep hitting the reconnect button. Should come back. Looks like all the leaves have been blown off the trees out here in eastern Oklahoma. Fall season is probably over out here. Boy, I don't know what people do during a tornado threat that I wish they wouldn't. I would say going to sleep at night when there's a big nocturnal outbreak. I think it's important to stay awake or at least have a weather radio that can go off, because it's those middle of the night tornadoes, those nocturnal tornado outbreaks that are the most dangerous. Those QLCS circulations and those tornadoes moving at 50, 60 miles an hour in the middle of the night in mobile homes that are the most dangerous. So I guess just staying tuned to the watches and warnings or having a plan in place if you happen to live in a mobile home in one of these areas, especially Dixie Alley, that experiences those nocturnal tornadoes. Also, Southern Plains, Tornado Alley gets those nocturnal tornadoes a lot, as we saw here recently with this outbreak. I generally don't judge people's decisions too much. You know, if somebody wants to be outside and watching the tornado, then they know the risks and, you know, can take the risks that they want to, as long as they're aware of the threat that's coming in. I mean, look what I do driving into these tornadoes. So who am I really to tell people how to be safe or not? But all I can do is try to increase awareness for these severe weather events, let people know how to stay safe around severe weather, educate about storm structure and whatnot if you do happen to see one out in the field. Thank you everybody for joining me for this live Q&A. Thanks for the super chat contributions here. I'm pure social media now, so I don't do any licensing or anything for breaking news media or traditional media. Definitely morphing toward pure social media now. It's an ugly day out here, post-frontal environment. These stratiform clouds happening. The weather stations will be available soon. That's going to be this winter now, the Dominator weather stations. Mark has been working on that non-stop, even developing our own ultrasonic anemometer. Now we're doing these Flex Seal videos as well. He's developed the gravitron sensors additionally. So we're planning on finishing those up this winter. I'm still waiting on my first Dominator weather station. And I invested $100,000 in that operation now, so I'm hoping that it'll come around and we'll start. These Dominator weather stations will be finished soon. Should be soon. He's working non-stop, day and night, on all of our science. He's the only person that's developing our science. Gravitron, surginators, the sensors, lightweight sensors that we launch into tornadoes with the rockets. About $100,000 for each Dominator. And I got to get Dominator 1 and 2 fixed up as well. Haven't played the oboe in a while. I could play it. It's kind of one of those things, it's like riding a bike. You just get right back on the bike if you have a good read and you can dominate on the oboe. But I do miss the oboe, certainly. Miss playing the oboe all these years. It definitely created a lot of balance. Kind of balanced out the storm chasing. Now I do a little bit of leaf peeping action as well to balance it out. Thank you, Chris. Thank you so much. I'll buy a bean burrito with that. I'm going to probably have 3 bean burrito sessions on the way back between now and when I arrive at my mom's place. Late night tonight, probably around midnight. I bet the Packers last night, plus the 6.5. I've been kind of watching them closely and figured it was about time for Arizona to lose, even though they had the chance to win there right at the end. And I also had the over, so if they would have scored that touchdown at the end, I still would have covered the 6.5 and got the over, but instead I ended up breaking even. Cheapest gas, $2.89 in Oklahoma. That's the cheapest gas I've seen so far. Most expensive was like $4 and $5 up there in the mountains of Colorado. There's the one gas station near my apartment that ramps up the price of gas, it seems like. Hopefully gas isn't too high next year. Next spring. We might have to be a little bit more selective on the chases that we can deploy after. The Dominator Fore is a 2018 Subaru Forester. It's the one that I'm in now. Dominator 1 is a 2008 Chevy Tahoe. Dominator 2 is a 2011 GMC Yukon. Dominator 3 is a Ford F350 diesel. I don't own Dominator 3, but I am hoping to buy it back here in the next year or so. I caught wind that Sean was trying to sell Dominator 3 for a pretty low price, so I'm hoping to get right of first refusal at least. So I can get all the Dominators together again, maybe even storm chasing again one day. Yeah, there's going to be more Dominators. We're just getting started. I'll be doing a combination of solo chasing and team chasing. I think that to accomplish big science, you need a team out there. So, but I don't expect everybody to chase everything like I do. So there are certainly going to be those cases where I have to chase solo. But sometimes it's just too hard to drive solo like this all over the country. That's why I've been missing some of these tornadoes that won in Orange, Texas after chasing those 2 days, Missouri and Western Oklahoma. Oh yeah, I'll be going live on Facebook. I'm going to be doing a live Q&A for Facebook supporters only too coming up here during my trip. No, I'm not scared of tornadoes. People on the team will probably have Alex Vanover, Captain Vanover, the world champion drone racer, flying the drone. We'll have Mark Simpson down, who develops our sensors, tracks the sensors. We have Sean Schofer and Curtis Brooks down, the rocket launching team with Dominator 3. I'd like to bring Scantman and Connor back as well, although they are trying to do their own thing largely on Storm Chase TV. It would be awesome to bring them back. Just have the big band on the road again. Financially, though, sometimes things can be expensive to make this happen, and sometimes people expect to be paid when they're out there storm chasing as well. Sometimes people are totally willing to do it on volunteer basis. But to pull off a big mission like this, there certainly is the economic side of things as well. But yeah, Scantman and Connor coming back would be awesome. I'll probably have someone shooting everything with a multi-platform stream, maybe holding up some type of a deal that will hold 4 phones at once. I could do 4 different individual social media platforms. Maybe I'll do something where we stream to a splitter and split that to a bunch of platforms as well. It'd be pretty awesome if I could just use one phone and stream everything from that. Looks like all the fall colors got blown off the leaves out here. I would like to have Bob Menery out too. Still trying to see if those guys are serious about storm chasing though, or if they just want to come out and kind of make a joke out of it. I think Bob is serious. We'll have to see though. I'm still feeling him out. But I think the key is that he's just going to have to show up out here too. Because I've kind of been thinking I don't want him to come out for a bust. A busted chase or anything, so I'm kind of trying to be uber selective on the opportunity. I think it'd be awesome to have Bob out there with us. Yeah, this is a big system, ushering in the changing of the seasons, that's for sure. And if we get additional severe weather events, it's probably going to be down in Dixie, areas of the Mid-South. You guys had a tornado in California with this last trough ejection. I got to catch up with Terry and give Terry a call and see how he's doing as well. I do some public appearances, but honestly, it's a lot of work to fly in, and it's hard for me to commit to anything too advanced because there's always storm chases, and there always ends up being some type of a storm chase. But I think I'm going to go speak at the Indiana Storm Chasing Convention coming up here in a few weeks. I also speak at the National Aviators Leadership Conference coming up in Dallas in February. And then we're going to be doing a lot of events with Flex Seal as well coming up into the new year. It is tornado season right now, the second season, so this is the fall season here. Thank you, Casey. That super chat contribution. I think it's going to probably be another 7 to 10 days before there's another event, but it's a very active pattern. You get kind of the encouragement of these atmospheric river events because of the negative PDO horseshoe. Encourages zonal flow across the Pacific and western U.S. trough formation, a consolidated, energized polar front jet. And I think that this second season that we've seen during the fall is a sign of things to come for spring of 2022. Gizmo's back at my mom's place, so I'm on my way back to meet up with Gizmo. I'm excited to see her. Hey Thomas, I do know you. I'm about to do a live Q&A on Facebook too for supporters only. Trying to figure out how to do this multi-platform stream now. Yeah, I can't believe she's 13 either, Gizmo. Born in Enid, Oklahoma, 2008, October. She's doing good. My mom's walking her a lot. She's producing a stool almost every day. She's just going to be so happy when I get in there tonight. I can't wait to see Gizmo. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, I gotta get my rollerblades back out again too. I also want to start doing a podcast. Maybe launch the Weed Trimmer podcast. Coming up here soon is basically what this is when I live stream anyway. But you still got to be mobile, be a vehicle. Charging up my other phone. I'm going to be going live on Facebook to continue this multi-platform Q&A. Thanks, Richie. Thanks for joining the live stream. Never stop trucking. I wish I could redo a couple days ago and just be there, just show up for the Orange, Texas tornado. I wish I could redo the 2 days before that, Purdon, Missouri, when I was in Chillicothe. Could have just gone east and north. I also wish I could redo the Winterwood chase. Wish I could redo the Chapman chase, Chapman, Kansas. Wish I could redo November 17, 2013, or November 7. November 13, 2000, sorry, November 7, November 17, 2013. Wish I could redo the Eli chase the day before, Pipestone, Manitoba. Man, there's just so many, but that's just part of storm chasing, is missing, losing. It's just baked into the activity. So you got to be mentally able to bounce back. I wish I could redo May 20, 2013. Definitely. But there are many chases where I dominated on around then too. May 19, 2013, the El Reno chase, Bennington, Kansas. I would love to redo the Roselle chase too, May 18, 2013. Wouldn't mind redoing Pilger, even though I did get all those tornadoes. Yeah, but you can't chase through the rear view mirror. You've only got to chase through the windshield up in a ditch. You got to play. Wayne Gretzky used to play the puck where it's going to be, not where it was, and that's why he was so good. You got to chase through the windshield. Yeah, I would also redo Joplin 2011. Probably the most dangerous storm chase, I would say, was the Canton, Texas one, 2017. In April, with a fast-moving EF4 tornado, and I got stuck in the ditch in the path of it with my armored Yukon. I was just fresh out of my divorce, so I was able to video and then waited at the last second. Waited until the last second to deploy on that one. And narrowly escaped. Oh, I'm not beating myself up. Don't worry. It's just part of it. Part of storm chasing. Of course, I'm really disappointed. My whole life revolves, so it's definitely always difficult. But sometimes it's just hard to get down there in time. And driving all these miles, I've been driving a lot these last 5 years. The El Reno chase, we intercepted that and chased it from when it formed until the very end, so that's not one that I would like to redo. I'd like to have it redone for other people, though. everybody. This is a live Q&A here from Dominator Fore, formulating the plan for 2022, driving across country, back to Gizmo in upstate South. Oh yeah, the TA, Tornado Action West. Big fan of those guys. See the post-frontal environment here, strong northerlies. Thank you, Facebook supporters, for riding along me all these years. I'm going to be doing live Q&As for Facebook supporters only coming up here every week, getting back to it during my sabbatical as I'm planning for spring 2022. Geomagnetic storm coming in Saturday night. Mark is in position for the geomagnetic storm Saturday night. It's like the best viewing conditions where the geomagnetic storm is maximized and minimal cloud cover, and being far north is going to be across the central and western Canadian prairies. But it could be visible overhead as far south as the Ohio River Valley. I've gotten inside of tornadoes many times. So I've probably gotten inside of about a dozen tornadoes. Fastest wind direction that I ever measured, or wind speed that I ever measured, was 155.2 miles an hour in Wyoming, June 9, 2005. Second strongest wind gust I ever measured was 138.8 miles an hour, and those were both inside of the Dominator. Dominator 1. 138.8 was near Aurora, Nebraska, June 17, 2009. There's definitely a big difference between tornadic wind speeds and hurricanes. With tornadoes, you can almost feel the pressure pump. You can feel the connection of the wind gust to the storm and to the mesocyclone. You can almost feel that it's a very deep vortex, 10, 20,000 feet. But with hurricanes, probably the max wind speed I've ever felt is about 130. But also experienced some big winds inside that windbag in North Dakota last year. That was definitely intense. Yeah, Wadena, Minnesota was a big tornado. Those dual EF4s. Elmore and Bluffton was about a mile wide. That was moving almost due north. And that one actually roped out and cycled. And I think that the emergency managers there in Wadena thought that when that one was roping out north of Elmore and Bluffton, that maybe that's a tornado threat had passed, but then another storm developed quickly and then dropped that tornado in a matter of minutes. And then that EF4 came into Wadena, caused a lot of damage and destruction. But we actually saw that tornado form and was coming into the south side of Wadena there. It's a lot easier to get tornadoes back then, but just wanted to say thank you, Facebook supporters, for all your support, riding along my passenger seat all these years, welcoming new supporters all the time. The link just right up in the bio up there. You can dominate storm chasing in the metaverse together here. And then coming up with some big plans for 2022. I think we're going to try to get the team back together again, take more of a team mentality out there. Canadian border will be open so we can get the Dominator 3 down. Hoping to launch rockets into tornadoes again, gravitrons, fly racing drones around tornadoes, full court press coming up for next spring. Maybe play a role in Twister 2 as well. But this is a live Q&A right now as I'm driving across country to get back with Gizmo, who is in upstate South Carolina. I think next year when we do this full court press science mission with the Dominator 3, the Dominator FPV drones, maybe even Mike and Connor can come back to the team. Sean, Curtis will be allowed to come down from Canada. Mark will be tracking probes. Then I'm going to try to get a camera operator too with a multi-platform stream so that we can stream the entire thing in real time through our platforms and not have to worry about a production company or a network or anything like that, or just going all out on our own. I think it's going to be very active this spring. We've got a cold PDO horseshoe that is enveloping the northeastern Pacific, And that's why these year 2 La Ninas are often bigger for tornadoes than the year 1 La Nina, because the negative anomalies have ample time to propagate around the eastern edge, eastern periphery of the ocean basin through the action of Kelvin waves underneath the ocean surface. And that brings those negative anomalies up to the surface. They wrap around the PDO horseshoe up into the Gulf of Alaska, and also have that subtropical belt of negative anomalies. And that encourages zonal flow across the North Pacific, the development of these atmospheric river events. It's a consolidated jet stream, develops western U.S. trough that encourages the development of a western U.S. trough. And that's why we've had an active second season this fall, and that's why I expect an active season in the spring too, because of those cold anomalies that will propagate up and around the northeastern periphery of that basin. And that's why I think Tornado Alley is going to come alive in a big way next spring too, 2022. Well, some of the characters that we'd like to evolve. Maybe Eric J. Jack would like to be involved as well. It's very possible that a lot of chasers won't want to be involved because they're still trying to kind of carve out their own brand. But I'm hoping that this will just be a beautiful collaborative effort in spring 2022. I'm trying to ride my bike and run a lot during this late fall and winter. Yeah, welcome to this live Q&A. So next year, the plan would be to have Dominator FPV drones landing on the ground in the path of the tornado to act as a ground-based probe. We'll be releasing and launching weather balloons in the path of the tornado. We'll be launching rockets into the funnel of the tornado as well. And that's our plan, is just a full court press out there for storm chasing, streamed live to multi-platform, the ultimate real-time reality show streaming. That'll be Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, all platforms. And we'll basically show the entire science mission playing out from start to finish. We'll be doing weather briefings. That's my plan this late fall into winter, is to try to formulate my master plan for this storm chasing season. It could range anywhere from me chasing solo in my vehicle, live streaming, barely being able to get pants on, to this multi-team massive science mission with Dominator 3s, Gravitrons, subsonic sensors, FPV drones, balloon launches, everybody working together as a collaborative effort with a massive team. That's really what I would like to do. Not sure if we can pull it off. I'm also not sure if there's going to be a season 2 of Storm Rising, or even if I'll have time to do a season 2 at this rate, if we're going to be doing our own thing through multiple platforms on social media. But noticing that the network really wasn't doing too much for promotion of the series, I'm just going to assume that it's a one and done. But you never know. There's always surprises, and I have enjoyed it. It was an honor, though, working for National Geographic and having our series and working with Mike Tice and the Herb and everything. An absolute honor making that series. And the finale's coming up tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Whoa, watch out here, pickup truck. Hurricane Zeta and Hurricane Delta intercept. Hurricane Delta we intercepted in Mexico and the Gulf Coast. Hurricane Zeta We developed the surgenators with Mark. Mark developed the surgenators. We just deployed them. But we tried to make that makeshift surgenator from Hurricane Delta after landing in Texas, after intercepting that hurricane down near Cancun. Yeah, usually April and May are the prime storm chasing seasons. Also June and July. Seems like July is the new May now. Getting a lot of Corn Belt action, a lot of high plains insanity, northern high plains. Yeah, the difficult part of doing shows these days isn't just doing the show, but it's selecting the platform to do it. Do you do it with a television network, or do you just stream live to your own platforms because you can get 10 times the viewership on your own platforms? How do you fund it? Production companies. But now, you can basically shoot a whole entire show with a cell phone and a production team out there, live stream to your own platforms. So you really don't even need to depend on a television network anymore to do your own show. And we showed that with Tornado Chasers, funded with a Kickstarter before. Maybe we'll call this Tornado Chasers Live. But as I'm starting to get a little older, I was starting to work solo, and kind of having the team mentality back in the TVN days kind of led to my total collapse. So I kind of vowed that I would just work solo for a while, but now I've come to realize that you can accomplish so much more with a team. I get so tired sometimes driving all these miles, like 150,000 miles every year, so sometimes it might be better, and you have more characters with the team. It's more entertaining for everybody to watch his live streams. But I also know that the live streams solo are so much more intimate for supporters and for the audience, that I also got to respect the intimacy of the solo chasing, and so I'm going to try to do both. We'll probably do a full court press there for a month during peak season, storm chasing season, but also the solo chasing before and or during the rest of the chases and during this winter. I do need to make it back down to Argentina, I agree. It's been, 10 years since I was down there last? Got to think about what to be for Halloween too, coming up here in a couple days. Might just have to break out the He-Man costume again. It's like the fall colors were ripped off the trees back there in eastern Oklahoma, but here in Arkansas, it looks like they're a lot more intact. And that was because of the big windbag event at the backside of this last trough with 50 to 60 mile an hour winds, gusting even stronger than that at times. The elevated areas there in Oklahoma yesterday, 70 knot low-level jet out of the north on the backside of that trough. Yeah, I could just drive around a Dominator Fore, I guess. Dress up like that. I was also thinking about covering my body in flex tape and just going as flex tape. But I just wanted to thank you, Facebook supporters, memberships, for riding in my passenger seat all these years. I started this off as an exclusive stream for supporters, but the hashtag didn't make it through. So this is going to be a live Q&A for everybody. But I'm going to start doing these weekly live Q&As for Facebook supporters only, as we're in the preparation and planning phase for this big-time Team Dominator deployment spring 2022. Should have been on that tornado when it crossed I-10 near Orange, but never made it down there. I did edit my first flex tape video. Not chasing today, just a cross-country live Q&A. Heading back to Gizmo. Should arrive to Gizmo by late evening. And she gets so excited that she won't go to sleep then, so probably be up for a couple hours longer than that. May try to run 10 miles. I'm going to try to fix up Dominator 1 and 2, so my plan is to rent a warehouse with a little apartment attached in Norman, Oklahoma for peak season and use that to rebuild the Dominators. Also going to have a cabin here in the mountains in seclusion up here in the southern Appalachians. And then I can be within range of Dixie Alley as well during the early spring, February, March, April time period. I'm also going to focus on fiber intake and hydration and getting my cardio back. Got to do 30 to 40 miles a week, and then that's when I truly find balance. Heart rate gets down to like 40 beats a minute. Takes pressure off the prostate, get good night's sleep at night. So I just got to get back to carving out time to do cardio again. Beautiful fall colors out here. Not beautiful, but they're there. At least the wind seems to have preserved, left some of these leaves on the trees in Arkansas. Yeah, so what a fall season we've had, and a lot of it's because of that cold water in the PDO horseshoe all the way up to the Gulf of Alaska. There's cold water in the subtropical branch of the PDO. And we kind of had these double trough ejections, two of them, with that preceding system, a lower amplitude but still potent system that results in tornadoes, and then another large system comes through that results in more tornadoes, even multi-day tornadoes. The first one came through October 10. And then again on the 12th. And then we had this most recent trough ejection too that we can see in the models. And all of this is largely because of a consolidated polar front jet. The sea surface temperature regime there in the northern Pacific definitely encourages a zonal flow and a powerful jet, atmospheric river type of an event. And it also encourages the formation of a western U.S. trough. And I think that this active second season is a sign of things to come for spring of 2022. But I figure with these multi-platform streams, I can reach, 2 to 5 million people in a single day of live streaming. And then, an episode of Storm Rising will get, a couple 100,000 viewers. And it requires a lot more work to make a television show. So one thing I'm learning is that it seems like it makes a lot more sense just to have 4 phones on my windshield, streaming live, doing Team Dominator science, reaching a larger number of people, and just doing it myself. Yeah, that tornado was on the 12th, northeast side of Clinton. We were getting gas there, considering even getting McDonald's, and then bam, tornado happened. That's kind of what burnout does, though. Hi, Stephen. Good to see Stephen Coy on there, expert photographer, storm chaser. I'm in Arkansas right now, headed eastbound on I-40, headed back toward Gizmo, who's in upstate South Carolina with my mom. Exactly. Yeah, Gizmo, and headed back to see her again, coming up here in probably about 12 hours. And I'm going to eat a lot of bean burritos on the way. My plan is to sample as many bean burritos as I can between here and South Carolina. Taco Bell, Taco Bueno, Taco John's, Taco Casa, local, taco trucks. I'm on a bean burrito rampage right now. I'm also thinking about doing something where I can have viewers submit a photo of a storm, and then I can just break down the storm structure sitting in my underwear. My PJs. That's something I can do when I'm not necessarily driving. Just break down storm structure, break down occlusions, clear slots. But I think that would be useful for people that are interested in breaking down storm structure. Again, Storm Rising season finale is on Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. We intercept both Hurricane Delta and Hurricane Zeta. In that intercept, you're going to see the birth of the Surgeonator sensors, how those came to be, with Mark having us go to Home Depot and picking up some of those parts, making up kind of a prototype Surgeonator before the development of the real ones, which Mark invented. It measures the depth of storm surge based on the pressure weight of the water. Thank you for joining this live Q&A. Storm chase mode is deactivated right now, but we're still sampling these strong northerlies in the backside of that trough that led to 2 days of tornadoes. First in Oklahoma during the overnight, one northeastern Norman QLCS tornado, and then that renegade supercell that developed down there near Sabine Pass, producing the tornado near Orange that crossed Interstate 10. Was approaching Deweyville as a large tornado as well. But it looked like it peaked those two cycles, one to the west of Bridge City when it was a really large tornado, and then I think it was a new cycle when it crossed Interstate 10. That one dissipated, and another tornado ramped up quickly, touching down right near that Pilot gas station on Interstate 10 just west of Beaumont. And then that continued off to the northeast toward Deweyville. Yeah, I do need bean burritos. I think that the protein contained within the beans helps to reinvigorate the mitochondria. Got to charge those up. And I got to get back to leaf peeper season too. Hopefully these winds up there in the southern Appalachians didn't blow all the leaves down, but I know that the escarpment, other locations there in upstate South Carolina, eventually down to the low country, are about to experience peak fall colors. And there's even a good chance of snow this weekend with that cold upper level low spinning over the southern Appalachians. So we might have to go up and sample some of that snow, maybe at top of Mount Mitchell or one of those locations. Could get some snow and some decent wind up there. I also want to relaunch Storm Chase EDU during this off season. Maybe we'll do that where you submit storm structure and I could break down storm structure as part of that campaign. I'll be doing these briefings and I'll be chasing still whenever tornadoes come up. I mean, I can't not chase, but I'm going to try to focus on hydration, taking in fiber, doing these weather briefings, and really planning for a big spring in 2022 while trying to eat healthy as well. It seems like storm chasing just goes year-round now. Hardly any off-seasons anymore. Especially if you chase all different types of weather, winter storms, snowstorms, lake effect, fall colors, leaf peeping, tornadoes, flash floods in the western U.S. Yeah, I'm thinking leaning more towards just doing a live streaming show through my own platforms instead of partnering with another network. But we'll have to see. Maybe Storm Rising will come back and I can still carve out time to do that on the side. That's a good idea, debunking storm myths. See the stratiform clouds there on the top of this deep frontal inversion now on the backside of this big bowling ball of a storm system. I'm heading eastbound, doing a live Q&A here. Probably do need to head back up to Deadwood, you're right about that. I do chase Ohio quite a bit. I was on those tornado warning storms in Dayton like in 2017. Came in there. I've chased Ohio a lot. I haven't seen any tornadoes in Ohio though, unfortunately. I don't do as well in the Midwest because a lot of times it's a little bit later out there. I need to get a summer home at Davenport, Iowa. Yeah, we have this big geomagnetic storm coming in this weekend. It looks like it's going to peak on Saturday night, and the best viewing conditions look like they're going to be in the central and western Canadian prairies, maybe the upper Great Lakes as well, like a northern Michigan. Could be a perfect place to view that big-time solar storm, geomagnetic storm coming in. And it could be visible in the northern horizon as far south as the Ohio River Valley, down into even the southern plains. Maybe even Oklahoma could see that off to the north. Could even be some disruption of electronic devices. Could certainly happen. I'm not as versed with space weather, hardly at all, but I do want to see the northern lights one day. Bright green northern lights overhead would just be incredible. Yeah, it wasn't enough yesterday. Saturday night could generate some big-time aurora borealis. And in combination with the weather, you need those clear skies as well. And looking at the weather, it looks like areas like central southern Alberta, even Saskatchewan, and then a belt of clouds in the middle. But then it looks like the northern Great Lakes are going to have clear skies. So I'm trying to get my Uncle Bruce to go outside on a Saturday night and try to capture some of those northern lights up in Traverse City. My Uncle Bruce is largely my mentor. Shows me the path to go. He's had some struggles during his life, and he just wants to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes as he did as well. I'm keeping an eye on the trucks and the wind. They're kind of wobbling back and forth a little bit with these big northerlies out here, the backside of the system. Also saw some winds up over 70 miles an hour on some of those higher ridges up there in the southern Appalachians. So I wouldn't mind getting a good windbag event up there at the ridges. Try to summit Grandfather Mountain or Craggy Gardens, Craggy Mountains up there. One of those would be fun. Maybe Mount Mitchell. Not sure if that road is closed up there or not. I think it's probably open. But thank you everybody for riding along in my passenger seat these last chases. It's a good run, but difficult setups. You know, it's been a while since we've had one of those big outbreaks that are a little bit easier to chase. Dixie Alley, Central Southern Plains. The last couple of years have been difficult, but now with that cold water infusing the North Pacific, I think that we're going to see a return, an awakening of Tornado Alley. And I think that this fall into the next spring is kind of a sign of things to come, this fall at least. 31 tornadoes in Oklahoma, record during October. Tornadoes. So it was 28, but then we only had 3 tornadoes from this last trough ejection. And we saw one of those. Remember when we were in Yukon looking west and we saw that lowering within the notch of the QLCS pattern? That actually had a radar confirmed tornado just south of I-40. And we could hear it in the trees just off to the north. You could definitely hear that circulation up there. And that one was confirmed as well. The one down in Norman was an EF1. Northeast Norman. And it touched down near Tecumseh in 24. Pretty close to where I was staying. And they ended up putting down, causing damage further off to the northeast and Northeast Norman. And those QLCS events, when you have just a bit of some minimal, traffic. And Mulberry, I remember in 2020 when I intercepted that wall cloud, I eventually put down a tornado. Got it here in the Mulberry area, and then followed it northeast into the north central Ozarks. That was intense. Could have chased that nor'easter. There was a lot of big wind up there up near Scituate, but I was focused on the tornadoes. Yeah, there's always a chance that these northern lights don't materialize, and you could also get a weather bust. Maybe cloud cover comes in. On that day, too, Channel 4 wanted us to shoot helicopter shots on May 20, 2013. So I was sitting at my house on Tecumseh there in North Norman. We were waiting for storms to fire. Everything was fine. I used to sleep in a lot then and stay up really late. And Channel 4 got upset. They sent someone from the station down to make sure that we were going mobile because they wanted to shoot helicopter shots of the Dominator 3 while on I-35 and in southwestern Oklahoma. And that caused us to actually miss the EF5 tornado that hit Moore in 2013 because it was only 1.5 miles west of my house, and we certainly would have seen it. Nearly hit my house, actually. And then that EF5 went through Moore in 2013, but that was definitely one that we probably shouldn't have missed. Yeah, this is a big area of construction here in Arkansas, and there's a couple different areas here on I-40. There's also some in Tennessee I know of, too, as well. No, I kind of like the mirrors the way that they are, honestly. And I don't mind doing a manual inspection of the blind spots as I'm driving. I'm kind of used to driving with the Dominators when you have to totally do a head pivot to inspect your blind spots, both sides. So I'm used to kind of doing the full spin while keeping my vehicle in the lanes and anticipating the traffic that's around me. The key is anticipating that traffic. It is definitely in the Mid-South. Dixie Alley setups up there. Could be quite active in the spring. Could be snow at the tops of the mountains in some of these areas in the southern Appalachians. I want to build a also got to submit that rocket paper for publication at an AMS journal. And if they decline it, then I'll just post it on social media platforms and publish it to my own platforms. But I definitely want to go through the peer review process. It's about 38 pages long, that paper right now. And it outlines our whole entire rocket launch from Linwood, Kansas, May 28, 2019. EF4 tornado, big, massive wedge wrapped in rain. And that lightweight sensor was measuring high-resolution GPS data, and because it's getting carried by its parachute probe, it behaves almost like a Lagrangian drifter. And so the GPS motion is synonymous with the wind speed of the tornado. And we had wind speeds of that sensor is moving up to speeds of 190 miles an hour. So that's roughly about the wind speed as that EF3 tornado crossed the road just south of Lawrence. Yeah, we're stopped right now, basically. Completely stopped in this traffic here on I-40. It does look like a lot of the fall colors have been blown down up here from the winds, but a lot less than Oklahoma. Eastern Oklahoma, the leaves are gone off the trees. It looks like winter back there with those 60-mile-an-hour winds that happened yesterday behind that front. Big pressure gradient back behind that upper level system. Moore used to be the tornado magnet, but now over recent years, over the last 5 years, Norman has come back as the tornado magnet. A lot of them are these nocturnal QLCS tornadoes. Seems like river winds taking a hit a lot of times. A lot of times just east of I-35 where it happens as well. Seems like Hall Park keeps getting hit hard with these tornadoes, and it's just like an episode of Groundhog's Day where you're chasing during the daylight, chasing those supercells, and then at nightfall comes and they produce nocturnal supercell tornadoes. Then they congeal into a line and approach the I-35 corridor and produce nocturnal tornadoes as that line pushes off to the east, and it kind of forcing those individual storm motions to be a little bit more right. So now Norman is that tornado magnet. Seems like it's not even Moore anymore, but really central Oklahoma, heart of Tornado Alley, is just a place that, in my opinion, is always going to see a lot of tornadoes. Passing Mulberry, Arkansas, beautiful area here, southwestern edge of the Ozarks. And when you're chasing storms to the northeast of here, it can be pretty difficult keeping up with those tornadoes through the mountainous, forested terrain. Some of the most challenging storm chasing terrain anywhere in the country is located up here in the Ozarks, in combination with a lot of tornadoes too. Sometimes you've got rock cliffs on either side of the highway, big, tall trees blocking both sides of the road. And even with a drone, it can be difficult, but you can use a drone as a periscope when you're out there storm chasing in challenging terrain, lofting the drone, serving as your eyes above that difficult geography to see the approaching storm and also to assess storm structure. Looks like there's some kind of an accident here. Not just construction. Yeah, Norman's the new tornado magnet, and it was crazy because we always used to say it was the Norman bubble. And Kat, I'm sorry that we weren't able to connect in Norman on this time, but I'll make sure that we connect on my next trip through Norman. Now that you're in Tornado Alley, we'll be crossing paths a lot. But I wish you the best with your transition to the tornado capital of the world. Norman's a great place to live. Incredible sunsets, great food, great people, incredible football team too, great weather. I'm not heading for a storm right now. I'm just driving back to Gizmo, doing this live Q&A on my trip west. Thinking about grabbing some barbecue up here though, with those on. Anyway, sorry I missed all those tornadoes, everybody, with this last trough ejection from Purdon all the way down to Orange. Giving it everything I have, but I think it's a mental thing. You gotta have the perfect mental balance to see every single tornado. But I feel like we're making good meteorological decisions, and that eventually we're going to start seeing every single tornado. Probably see like 75 or 80 tornadoes next year during 2022, year 2 La Nina. Beautiful little stream there. Fall colors about. Cloudy skies above, definitely has that fall-like appearance out here. Stratiform clouds on top of that frontal inversion up there. Oh yeah, the comment sections are always lively in these. Yeah, really my skill set in life kicks in about 2 kilometers away from the tornado. Can kind of break down tornadic supercell structure, really good close range from underneath it. Can time the tornadoes when they're going to touch down. But getting to within 2 kilometers of the tornado is the tough part. So that skill set can finally activate and making good decisions in the briefings and the forecasting. But it seems like those kind of mesoscale decisions just before getting on the storm, kind of selecting the last second storm is breaking down somehow. So I just got to figure out how to get that mesoscale decision making back on track. It's possible the coronavirus dislodged some kind of node in my brain that activates when things are intense or when adrenaline's in there. So it is possible that somehow there's some physiological reason that my mesoscale decision making is breaking down, but it's probably just chance. You know, that just happens sometimes with storm chasing. Missing tornadoes is kind of baked into it all. I've also got a lot going on these last few years too, with Storm Rising and doing these live streams and the earlier Radar Omega campaign, and now with Flex Seal and the Varsity Tutors stuff happening. There's just definitely a lot going on. Speaking events, podcasts, leaf peeping, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes. Yeah, I could just toss the drone out, harass the other vehicles, but probably get in trouble. Get the bird in the air. This is some serious construction happening here, actually. This guy's actually sawing through. Oh, he's lofting carcinogens. Flakes of road coming into the car. No, I've never had any bad mishaps. I exercise a lot. Never had any health issues. Just the key is just exercising nonstop, really. Having discipline as well. But yeah, I'm definitely starting to experience a little bit of fatigue these last few years. Pushing through it. But just got to eat more fiber, maybe tighten up my diet a little bit, bring a cooler with me on the road, and start eating like hummus sandwiches and stuff. So that's also my plan for 2022, is to really tighten up that diet. Yeah, the show paid for Dominator 1 and 2, and then we did Dominator 3 as part of forming TVN. Sean Chauffeur also came in as an investor, and that's why he's an owner of Dominator 3 now. And Dominator 1 and 2 are at Tornado Safe certified shelters. My long-term plan is to get a warehouse in Norman with a little apartment attached, have 3 Dominators in that warehouse, work on Dominator 1 and 2, maybe acquire Dominator 3 if Sean wants to sell it. I just got to make sure Dominator 3 doesn't get in the wrong hands either, because I'm putting so much effort into the Dominator brand that he almost sold it this spring without me knowing. But, you know, that'd be terrible if Dominator 3 is with some tour company and then I'm pumping up the Dominator brand so much, and then what if they get in an accident or something? That obviously wouldn't be good. So, I mean, you got to be protective over your brand a little bit too. Well, this is Dominator Fore that I'm in right now, and it might be Flex Seal helps us make a Dominator 5, so they have shown some interest in maybe even making some type of an armored Dominator 5 vehicle. Yeah, I would suggest that people that are interested in buying a Dominator, just build your own and build your own brand. You know, don't try to buy it in secret out from under me. That would just be kind of weird, and the rest of the community would also see that as kind of weird. Plus, I would pay double for it. Yeah, my plan too is to maybe cover the entire Dominator 4 with flex tape, flex glue, flex seal, and make it completely waterproof. Basically turn the thing into a submarine. So we chase storm surges, other flash floods, tornadoes when floods are happening. Then I'll be dry as a baby in here in Dominator 4. I'm going to be releasing a series of flex seal videos too as related to storm chasing. I just submitted my first one for approval, and once it's ready to go, I'm going to be releasing a series of storm chasing videos of the Flex Seal theme. But really great people over there at Flex Seal. Phil Swift is a marketing genius too, and just really great people to work with. They're very science focused, powering our science mission, which is great. And just a really great group of people over there. Old Blue is the follow vehicle that was the armored Yukon, and that's rotting away in the back of my sister, in my backyard of my sister's place. But I'd love to get that running again as well. Old Blue, I did fix the engine on AccuWeather's dime a little bit ago, but then I ended up getting Dominator Fore here, and just the Yukon was too far away for me to retrieve it. I could barely get my pants on in the morning there, so I couldn't make it all the way out to South Carolina to bring it all the way back to Colorado or put it in the warehouse in Norman there. But I do miss that vehicle. It made it through a lot of stuff too. A lot of crazy experiences in that car, including the Canton, Texas tornado, that EF4, when I got stuck in the ditch. I was actually an Old Blue. I was trying to get through the ditch and the traction control kicked in and I fell down in the ditch, and I'm looking up at the sky with this EF4 tornado approaching. I can see the edge of the tornado. I can see power poles getting snapped, trees getting lofted in the air above me. And I thought to myself, I only have one chance to get out of the ditch. And I'm going to tap the gas and see if it'll pop me out. But if it doesn't, I'm going to have to try to run. And my plan was to get out as far as I could away from the core flow of the tornado, find a ditch or culvert. I would jump into that ditch or culvert on the way up there. And then I would try to get as far away from the death zone as I could. But thankfully, I just tapped the gas and whoop, just popped right out onto the road surface. And it just so happened that the road was oriented southeast and northwest as well, which was parallel to the wind in the northeastern quadrant of that tornado. So I'm driving through the northeastern quadrant of the tornado with the wind coming right into my face, going through all 4 lanes of traffic in Old Blue, and made it out. I turn around to the right and I see the edge of the tornado. Power flash is right behind me, and somebody actually passed away right where I rode out that tornado, right where I was caught in the ditch. Someone's vehicle, I believe a local, was thrown into the field by that strong, powerful, fast-moving tornado. So I'm forever thankful for making it out of that dangerous spot there with that Canton, Texas EF4 tornado, which was particularly violent and fast-moving. It's probably the closest I've come into biting the bullet there. But the other times in the Dominators, we were inside a tornado, but you just trust in the design of the Dominator, the aerodynamic armor. People always have to pass me right at the wrong time when I'm trying to left lane. Yeah, Old Blue 2011 GMC Yukon rotting away in my sister's backyard there, but I would love to get that one up and running as well. But I was really starting to do this live streaming during storm chasing thing when I was working with AccuWeather. Really started in 2016 and 17. I think that cellular technology and these social media apps finally reached a point where you can deliver a reliable live stream of the tornadoes. We were trying to develop TVN live stream and even developed mobile streaming to kind of make that jump. Instead of needing a computer and a phone to live stream, we were actually going to be bringing in cell phones to storm chasers, a cell phone app that they can download so that they would be able to stream live to the TVN platform, but we just couldn't quite get over the critical mass. It started costing like 25 grand a month to host the live streaming platform. Everybody wanted to sell. Everybody else was pretty tired of kind of working for free, if not even negative. But TVN was nearly the death of me also. You're working nonstop, trying to support all your friends as well, and kind of thankful that I survived that back then. That's the problem when you try to do things as a team, is it usually kind of reaches a peak and then you're trying to sustain it, working 24 hours a day to try to keep it afloat, and then eventually it just becomes too much to afford. But if you're lean and mean, keep things streamlined, keep your overhead low. You're just one person. You just have one pair of pants, one shirt, one shitty car. And I think that that's probably the way to go in life. So not have too many nice things, because they can start bogging you down, and then you become a prisoner to your nice things. Including your footage library. No, I don't have too many nice things. I can't have anything nice. I'm not very responsible. Got gas station sunglasses. I have a pair of sweatpants that I've worn every day on this chase. I do have a nice thing in Gizmo. Beautiful soul that is Gizmo, but that's not, I don't take ownership over that. I think Gizmo's just my life partner in crime. I'll pull over here and take pressure off the prostate, use the bathroom. Trying to stay hydrated these days, so one symptom of that is you have to go to the bathroom a lot. Be right back. Actually, I haven't had a burrito yet, but I'm about to. Really got my head on a swivel looking for a place to have a burrito. Damn, another construction zone. Another reason why I like to use the phone for live streaming instead of having like a multi-platform stream is sometimes the algorithm is such that if you stop and restart your stream, it kind of gives you a reset. Whereas sometimes if you just run your stream the whole chase, then the numbers will go down and then the algorithm won't let you reach a new group of people. So it's kind of another reason why I like to stream with a phone, because then you can start and stop them a little bit more flexibility with it. Stop here, Taco Bell, and get a bean burrito plus some other things. $2.98 here, gas. The cost of gas is definitely a consideration for the storm chasing profession, big time, especially since we're kind of scrap by with storm chasing already, so that could definitely make a big difference. You may have to chase mainly the big events. There it is. Taco Bell hiding back there. I see you. I see you hiding back there at TB. Right next to the KFC.
Hi, welcome to KFC Taco Bell. Order when you're ready.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great, how about yourself?
Good. Could I please do the number 6?
Okay, I'm Taco Bell or KFC.
But could I do 1 beef and 1 chicken on the chalupas?
Okay.
And could I also get
What for that drink?
Could I also get an additional bean burrito with that?
Okay, what's your drink?
Pepsi.
Alright.
And that's it. Large Pepsi.
Okay. So I got the Taco Bell number 6, 1 beef, 1 chicken with a large Pepsi, and then a bean burrito.
That's correct.
Okay, Taco Bell sauce.
Yeah, I'll do hot sauce, please.
Okay, 1302, thank you.
Thanks. How's that noise? Squeak. Hi there. Good, how are you?
Good. Don't tell me there's bad weather out now.
No, there's not.
You're making me nervous.
I missed all the bad weather. Just driving back now.
Oh, okay.
You guys had a pretty busy couple of days though this week, didn't you?
I know. Oh, here you go, sir.
Thanks. Can't get everything on the menu. Thank you.
Y'all have a good day.
You too. Have a good one. See you guys. Alright guys, as I eat this, I'm going to stream the road. I don't want to gross anybody out eating. Chalupas aren't the best thing for you on the menu, but they are one of the better tasting. But bean burritos are the best for you on the menu. If you got like a corn tortilla with a bean burrito, best thing for me. Getting what tastes best. It is pretty good. Taco Bell is definitely one of the best for you of the fast food diet. Say the good tasting versus good for you ratio is lower. But it tastes good too, so we're back. Yeah, you may remember all the debates in social media about being moderated or self-moderated Sure doesn't seem like these are purely self-moderated, these chats. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got like another 12 hours. Long ways to go.